Arsenal are currently the Premier League and Champions League favourites, and even neutrals are saying that nothing can stop them. But this weekend, Arsenal face the FA Cup and Community Shield holders Crystal Palace. Palace recently went on one of their longest unbeaten runs in their history, have only lost once in the league all season, and have a huge, huge threat up front. So today, I'm previewing Arsenal versus Crystal Palace and answering the question: is this weekend's game a chance for an upset against Arsenal? Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Match Reaction Show, the show that enhances your Arsenal matchday experience. I'm back. It is a preview episode, and if you have been here before, you know exactly what that means. It means we are playing a game this weekend. It means there will be a preview, which is what you're listening to or watching now. It means there will be an instant reaction due to the timing of the game being really, really good. And it also means that there'll be a match review as well. So we are really extending out your match day experience. So if you enjoy reveling all the build up and all the kind of reaction, the feelings around the game, then the tactical analysis, you are in the right place. Make sure you follow if you're on audio platforms, or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I'm going to get straight into it though, with a new structure for match previews, just as a way that we did a new structure for the match review episode for the Atleti game. So let's get into it and start with a new section of What's the Vibe? Yes. So, what is the vibe around the two clubs? I wanted to introduce this section because I think it's a useful barometer to kind of sum up where Arsenal are at, and also look at the other team and have a think about, okay, well, where's their confidence level at? Will they be looking at this as, bloody hell, we've got to play the Premier League favourites here. This is not going to be easy, or will they be thinking and looking at Arsenal and thinking there is a chance here? We can maybe do something. We can maybe snatch a draw, or maybe even cause a really, really big upset. Of course, Arsenal are at home for this game, so it makes it even harder for Crystal Palace. But let's start with Arsenal. The vibe is so positive right now, isn't it? We have to remember, though, we have been caught out in many, many years by what are called trap games. And this could absolutely be a trap game, couldn't it? Where things are going well, you're very, very confident, and you're almost looking past a game. You're almost thinking about the next game and the next game. And I don't think we're going to do that for Crystal Palace, because there aren't many big games coming up. We have an easier run of fixtures. We've got the cup game on Tuesday against Brighton, which I'm so excited. I've got tickets for. That's amazing. We've got Burnley, and then we've got Sparta Prague. So we've got kind of opportunities to rotate after this game. And I'll come on to that when I predict the lineup later, or choose my lineup, I should say. So, I don't think we're going to do that. I think Crystal Palace are the strongest kind of team that we are about to play over the next 4 games. And I think we are going to take them very, very seriously. Even still, though, we've just come off a really, really good game against Atletico Madrid. And to be fair, a good result against Fulham as well. So we need to just make sure that we keep our focus, I think, because Palace are a team that they have a lot of threat. They have a lot of threat, and they've been good over the past 12 months, I think is fair enough to say. They've had a really, really positive time under Oliver Glasner, and we need to make sure that we navigate this game in the same way that we've navigated West Ham, Fulham, Newcastle, games that we are favourites for, and we should go and win, but we have historically struggled and historically struggled to win. I'm not saying we historically struggled against Crystal Palace, but what I am saying is this is that kind of game where, you don't see it coming. You see maybe a team that historically are not as good as they are right now, and actually forget to prepare properly, forget to be focused. I think Mikel Arteta will absolutely be drilling that message into the squad right now. Do not underestimate Crystal Palace, because they have got tons and tons of brilliant players. As far as our team, Gyökeres has got his 2 goals now, come over that first hurdle, which I think is absolutely massive for him, right? He joined the club. We all expected him to score loads of goals. He was struggling for goals, and there's those question marks over him. Is this the right guy? Have we got this right? All of a sudden, 2 goals against Atletico Madrid, and that vibe is completely changed. As well, we've obviously got that defensive record that we've got going on. Clean sheets so far this year, I've been, I'm running out of fingers to count them. It's unbelievable, and it's the best defensive start to a season that we've ever had. I think we've conceded one open play goal all year, three in total, one from a corner and one from that ridiculous Dominic Szoboszlai free kick, which I think we will be talking about for many weeks to come. Can we keep a clean sheet against Crystal Palace? Well, you would certainly hope so. Despite their threat, we have the tools to deal with them. What's the vibe at Crystal Palace, though? It's okay. You know, uh, I think if I've been previewing this 24 hours ago, I'd say it's really, really good. But they have just lost last night 1-0 to Locarno, who I believe are a Cypriot team. And it's the first time a Cypriot team have beaten an English side in Europe. It's a massive upset. Anytime a Premier League team is beaten in that Conference League format, I think it is just a big upset. We have resources that those other teams do not have in the Premier League. So it is a big upset, but you've got to respect it. And Crystal Palace will be kind of, I think, hurting from that last night. They played a very strong team, actually. Mateta played a lot of football. Munoz played. Gay played. Mitchell played. So there was a lot of strong, strong players. Kamada, I think, as well started. So they will have. They'll be hurting. They'll be hurting from that. They played a strong team and still got beat. Not ideal. They haven't actually won in 3 games because they had the loss to Everton with the late Jack Grealish goal. They had that unbelievable game against Bournemouth, and the way Bournemouth are playing, the draw that Crystal Palace got there. Actually, not too bad. Although the Mateta chance at the end, they should have won it. Mateta on a hat trick, or had scored a hat trick already, I should say. Ballooned one over the bar from about 4 yards out. It was brutal watching. If I was a Crystal Palace fan watching that, I would have been head in hands, tears in eyes kind of thing. It was an amazing game. And then obviously that loss to Locarno last night. So that's why I say the vibe is okay, because they're 3 games without a win. If I zoom out a little bit, the vibe has never been better at Crystal Palace. They've won the FA Cup. They've won the Community Shield. Oliver Glasnow has proven himself to be an absolutely wonderful manager. And they've had some massive results already this year. They beat Liverpool in the league for us. So thank you very much, Crystal Palace. That's really, really useful. And they have some players in scintillating form. Daniel Munoz and Mateo. I'll talk about them in a moment. But they have, over the last 12 months, I think they have had one of the best periods in their history. And they are in Europe for the first time. They're on a European tour. They were robbed by a horrible decision by UEFA. They should be in the Europa League, not the Conference League. I think it's criminal. But they are where they are, and they are playing on Thursday nights. And there'll be a bit of the Palace contingent who will be thinking, well, we can win that competition. We probably weren't going to win the Europa League. So actually, maybe this is another route back into Europe. Maybe this is a chance for another trophy. They could actually have won the FA Cup, the Conference League, and the Community Shield within the space of sort of 12, 13, 14 months, which would be unbelievable for them. So I do hope they go and win it, because I like Crystal Palace as a team. I do hope that they don't turn up this weekend, because they do have a threat. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, the threat from Crystal Palace. Okay, so the threat. What do Crystal Palace do? They play that 3-4-3. There's Mateta up front, and usually kind of Sarr on one side, and they've had Pino or Kamada as well, playing in the kind of 2 10s. Now, we know all about that because we all watched the Eze comps, right? And we all looked at the Eze heat maps when we signed him. We know that Eze played in that kind of left 10, left wing kind of spot with Mitchell getting around him. And I've said this many times. I think the conversation about Eze being a 10 and only a 10 is quite silly, because he never played where R10 plays. He always played in that left half space, quite high up in this Crystal Palace system, and the wing back getting around him just was a system for him to get inside and get more threat. Basically, we can do that with him off our left wing because we have so much territorial dominance. So we're seeing a little bit of that this year with Pino on the left hand side, and the same thing kind of with Mitchell getting around him. But we're seeing it a lot more on the right hand side. Munoz, Sarr, and Mateta are creating such a combination on that right hand side for Crystal Palace. I went and watched kind of a selection of their most recent goals and games, and I didn't watch all the games obviously, but I watched some highlights and saw where they were scoring from, and I was amazed at how often Daniel Munoz is involved in their attacking output. Now, I think there's a number of questions. Like against Arsenal, will he get that opportunity to bomb forward? I don't know. but it's something we have to be ready for. It's something we absolutely have to be ready for because I think that's where they're going to try and hurt us. And it's not a new thought that Arsenal can be try that again, hurt behind their left back. You know, we do a lot of creative things with our left back. Originally, it would be Zinchenko going into the defensive midfield, and every team knew that if he was there during build up and they won the ball back, they could put a ball over his head and hopefully have someone running onto him. Same with Miles Lewis-Skelly. And now this year, obviously, Calafiori does sometimes come into midfield, but more often than not, he's gallivanting off wherever he wants to go. He really runs forward a lot and could be anywhere on the pitch. So again, it's another spot that I'm sure Crystal Palace will be looking to exploit. And if they can get Sarr on the ball, then with Munoz going around him, they will be able to provide tons and tons of quality to Jean-Philippe Mateta, who has obviously just made his France debut. So he's loving life at the moment, scored that hat-trick against Bournemouth. They have tons down that right-hand side. So it's another one of those games where you're looking at and you're thinking, well, Arsenal could get hurt in that left-back spot, but I think it's different this time in that actually their form players are right down there. Munoz, you know, they're doing this to other teams. They're not just doing this to Arsenal. So it's doubly important that we get that balance with Calafiori right, I think, because Munoz looks absolutely brilliant. So I think the wing backs are a really key area for Crystal Palace. They make a lot of their system and they kind of shield the back three at times, but then they also make sure that they are supporting the front players and they are very, very energetic. Munoz covers so much ground, it's unbelievable. And I think that is going to be a really key battle, our wingers versus their wing backs. On the left-hand side, on our left-hand side, I think it's going to be interesting how we deal with Munoz from a defensive point of view. But on our right-hand side, their left-hand side, I think they are going to be worried. And again, it's not a new thought, right? We are always talking about left backs, whether it's our left back or Saka cooking another team's left back. I think that will be the play. And we saw against Atletico Madrid, we really targeted that Hanko fella for Atletico Madrid in the first half. We put Saka on the ball as often as possible and he skinned him multiple times. Saka will do basically like a lot of minutes this week. He will, but I think he'll get rotated in the cup game. I think he'll get rotated against Burnley and Sparta Prague to give him a rest. But I think he must play in this game and I think he will play and cause Tyrick Mitchell a lot of problems. That's not me being disrespectful to Tyrick Mitchell. I hope it doesn't come across that way. Tyrick Mitchell's a great player. And, you know, a lot of clubs could do a lot worse than having Tyrick Mitchell in their squad. He does a really good job for Crystal Palace, but he's out there on his own against one of the best right wingers in the world in Bukayo Saka. I think there's a chance he could struggle, and I think that is where Arsenal will look to exploit. So it's going to be battle of left backs again. You know, can they exploit our adventurous, buccaneering Calafiori, or will Saka exploit the fact that Mitchell has to get up and down to support Pino or whoever they play on that side? So there's a lot going on. One other player I want to highlight is Adam Wharton because he's a really, really good player, really special player. I think he is the kind of player that Arsenal might look to buy at some point in the future. He is really quality on the ball, plays some brilliant passes, and he will release a number of these counterattacks. If Palace are digging in against us and they get the opportunity, it will be them looking to Adam Wharton to try and release the right ball to the wingers, to the wing backs, to get to us. So I was on another Arsenal podcast, The Real Arsenal Deal by Rav in Australia. Make sure you go and check that out. Search him on podcast platforms and on YouTube. But we were talking about actually, I think a lot of the plan will be to stop the counters at source in the same way that we did against Atletico Madrid. I imagine it will be a very similar game plan, actually, now that I think about it. So part of that will be stopping Adam Wharton. And I think that's a really, really interesting position for Palace, and it's something we're going to have to deal with. How are we going to deal with it? Well, we've got to pick an 11, so I'm going to pick my 11 right now. Okay, let's look at the 11. You can see it on the screen now. I will put it here-ish. So the 11. It's David Raya in goal, obviously. It's a really easy one for us to pick. And I've gone with the usual right-hand side of Timber Saliba, Gabriel on the left centre-back spot, but I'm bringing Calafiori back in. I've already mentioned him. I think he could be a threat in behind Daniel Munoz when Munoz gets forward. I also think he's done plenty to keep his shirt. He's in really good form. And the other thing I think is just, well, why not do a timeshare there? You know, why not? Because Miles Lewis-Skelly played great against Atletico Madrid, but he could come in the cup game, and we're just going to go backwards and forwards between these guys. Let's give Calafiori this one, and we'll play Miles Lewis-Skelly against Brighton. Fantastic, love that. Rice, Zubimendi, Eze in midfield. I think that's going to be the same. Eze playing against his old club for the first time. It's going to be interesting to see how the reaction is. I really do hope he gets cheers from Crystal Palace. I think he will. I don't think it's going to be a negative scenario, certainly not in this first game, when they still have fresh memories of what he did for them and how he helped them win that FA Cup. So fingers crossed that they are nice to him. It's obvious on the right wing, Saka. It's obvious up front, Gyökeres. And I mentioned it before, I was on the Real Arsenal deal the other day, and I picked Trossard as my left winger because Martinelli had played midweek, because I thought we'd want someone in that internal area so that if we did turn the ball over, our rest defence was kind of closer to Adam Wharton to close him down. Since I've watched Palace a little bit more this morning, I've changed my opinion on that. I think it's got to be Gabriel Martinelli. Got to be. Not only is he in great form offensively, but he is the best choice we have at left wing from a defensive point of view. He works so hard. He is very, very good at supporting Calafiori or Miles Lewis-Skelly, whoever it is at left back. Very good at tracking back. And I think his ability, his pace, one, for hurting Palace when Munoz goes forward, could be really, really essential. You know, if we can catch them off guard on a counter attack or something. But also just dealing with Munoz, he's got more of that sense. And I think he is the right man for this game now. Let's stop Daniel Munoz as opposed to stopping Adam Wharton. I think we'd leave Eze and Rice and Zubimendi to stop Adam Wharton. So I'm kind of okay with that. I feel like that's the right choice to make. And we'll use Martinelli to stop Daniel Munoz. So that's my lineup. And look, I think it's one of those games, right? It's one of those games where Arsenal have to be favourites. Arsenal have to be looking to win it if we want to win the Premier League. But that's not to say it won't be difficult. That's not to say, all games in the Premier League are really, really challenging. This one is going to be extra challenging because I think Crystal Palace have built a really good squad and they are in a really, really kind of, I'm not going to say rich vein of form because they've not won in 3, but, they're having a good season in general. And I'm sure, this little cluster of games they've had is probably an exception rather than the rule. And I think they will continue to play well as the season progresses. So it's really difficult, right? It is really difficult because you have to go and win this kind of game if you want to win the title. You have to. But then there's that context of actually they're a really good team, and it's not going to be easy for us. We're not going to waltz this game, guys. I can't see it. What I am seeing is another clean sheet. I think Saliba and Gabriel will manage to lock up Mateta. I think we will deal with the threat of Daniel Munoz, and I think we will win 2-0. I think Gyökeres will score at least one to continue his goal scoring form. I watched an interview with Victor Gyökeres and the CBS team, by the way, after the Atletico Madrid game. It's such a personable guy, such a funny guy. Didn't expect that from him. Maybe that's, I don't know, how I viewed him. I thought he was a very serious guy, but he was making lots of jokes with that crew. So really, really glad to see that he's so funny and so personable. So yeah, 2-0. I think he will score a goal. And I'm hoping for a wonderful day on Saturday. Like I say, guys, there'll be an instant reaction after the game because it's a 2:00 kickoff. So it makes sense to bring you an instant reaction. That will be out almost immediately. And then come Monday, there will be the full match review. So make sure you keep an eye out. The instant reaction is the kind of more feelingsy one. I just kind of rant for sort of under 10 minutes. It's a quick soundbite that you can enjoy after the game. The match review, I look at it in a bit more detail and try and step back from it and look with more kind of clear eyes. So make sure you check those both out. If you are on YouTube, subscribe so you don't miss those. If you're on audio platforms, follow so you don't miss those. And if you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode that you've listened to, a like on YouTube goes a really, really long way. And a 5-star review on audio platforms also goes a really, really long way. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for following. Thank you for listening. I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I join you for the instant reaction next time after a lovely, easy, comfortable, drama-free Arsenal win. Thank you so much.